Hey all, here is a replay version of the most recent live stream Q&A on all things Social Security that occurs every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this is with all the little silences carved out of it. So I hope it's an easier listen for those who are doing the replay versus being there live. And we'd love to see you live. So feel free to pop in. Bye-bye now. Dimple says, and I know this is I think I'm going to scroll down because you got cut off, didn't you, Dimple? Let me go to this one. Next question. Rotator cuff is torn completely, and doctor has stated that recovery will be at least 1 year. Application has been filed due to a different impairment. How does the SSA look at multiple impairments? I will say this. It's likely that your application was not filed due to a different impairment. It was probably filed with a list of all impairments. And the shoulder is huge because shoulder injuries or impairments affect our lifting, and our lifting capacity is what affects whether we are going to meet an RFC of medium or not be able to. Remember, medium exertional is 20 to 50 pounds. Lifting, with a shoulder, lifting that amount of weight, I would think with a completely torn rotator cuff would not be advisable, if even doable. So that shoulder injury can get your exertional down to a light or less. And if you're of the age frame where light or less is what you need for that one prong of the grid applications, then that's the one prong of the grid applications. You had to get reduced to light or sedentary. There's other prongs you have to meet. As you know, you have to prove you can't do your prior job for some reason, and you have to prove that you would not be able to you either don't have transferable skills from that job, or you would not be able to transfer them to a less arduous job, say a sedentary job that you could otherwise do, right? So you might have gone in for XYZ for a knee or a back, and I don't think your lawyer is going to leave at your shoulder. I don't think even the lawyers that only want to put in 2 or 3 impairments wouldn't probably leave out a shoulder, because that's directly on point with lifting capacities, right? And for the over 50 crowd, that's imperative that you rule out at least medium work. All of them, everybody over 50 has to rule out medium level work to meet that prong of the grids. As we get older, like 55, we can all we have to do is carve out the medium. When we're under 55, that's when we have to also carve out the light, but everyone has to carve out the medium. Christina's in the house. Hi, Christina. Hope you're doing. Hello from California, she says. Oh, and so importantly, she says, please share the live stream. I appreciate that, Christina. She's always such a help. Oh, and here she goes some more. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate Christina. She's always the reminder for everybody. That's great. Kylo, what are you apologizing for? Oh, I apologize. I kept saying settlement, but it was severance pay, which is actually kind of the same thing. It is kind of the same thing. Although settlement implies there was a battle, and severance pay might be where they just want to do it for their employees that have put in a certain amount of time. It might just be part of either they made it a mandatory within their company to do severance pay, just as it's almost like a employee benefit they opted to have. Or I will say this, I've never seen a severance pay go out without the employees signing that they're not going to sue. So I think it's almost like part of we're going to be kind, but we're going to make sure there is some consideration for this, and that employee, even for something that we don't even think there is any gripe, they're going to mention a gripe, we're going to close that door now, by and large. Dimple says, I'm just thinking that they might consider the arm-hand arthritis to be linked to the rotator cuff. Not really, and may give less consideration to the RA. The RA is more systemic too. It's usually more affects a lot of body parts in a lot of different areas. My doctor suggested that RA may have caused the rotator cuff. Well, yeah, I suppose so. I mean, I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't get into what's causing things, but it doesn't matter what caused it. Let's say what caused it was you had a car accident and your shoulder got jammed up. I mean, that's a cause. It doesn't matter as long as it is a limiting body part. Can you guys hear all those animals out there? There must have been like the UPS guy or something, because one barks, then they all look out the window, then they all bark. They're like a mob. I had a video that probably hasn't gone out yet, but in it, I was talking about function report, but I said something like, because I heard the dogs barking. I don't think you can even hear it on the video. And I said, oh my God, I can't. Even in the video, I'm like, I can't wait till I'm pet free. I'm like, I got another 5 or 6 years. And I let it stay in the video. And I'm like, yeah, I might upset a couple of animal lovers, but I'm not. I keep my animals. I take care of them. I just don't want them in a few years. I just want to be pet free, by and large, pet free. There's 4 dogs out there right now. I would yell at them right now, but I would hurt your guys' ears. There's a way I should set the ring off. There's a ring out there and I can make it go and it could freak out. Make it blare. I mean, they usually shut up eventually, but they go longer than if there was one dog because one barks, the most neurotic one barks again, then they all start barking again. They're like, I'm sorry, they're not the brightest. Welcome, Shiloh. Cannon from the county. Ah, you're filling up the 3373. You probably already know about it, but there's a whole playlist, Cannon, on function report. And everything from like the last few years is obviously still applicable. But I am adding more stuff this year. I just decided a couple weeks ago. I'm like, it's been a while. Because things come up that you see in real life, in action, and why not have, oh my gosh, this is why, guys, I want to do something for them. Forgive me, just give me 1 second. I want to figure out how to, can you hear that? I don't know if you guys can hear the siren. I don't know if it's going to, I don't know if it's helping. Goes on for 30 seconds. Cannon says, filling out his 3373. That's the function report, guys. My lawyer sent a walkthrough PDF. Oh, that's sweet. Cannon says, what is the number one thing that I have to avoid wording wrongly? I wouldn't know the number one thing because there's about 500. Remember, it's kind of like saying, what are all the things you shouldn't do that could get you killed? Millions. So you can't really say which one. Just don't do anything that's going to give you a bad answer. And I'm not sure if you are aware of this. If you're not aware of the playlist, they go by number. So you know how like some are kind of common sense, you think, right? But let's say you're having struggles on number 5, which is a big one, number 6, number 20. Those are just individual videos to keep them kind of short so no one has to sit through the whole thing. So there's multiples on like the 5. There's multiples on the 20 and the 6 and some others. There's at one particular time, like you're not going to get everything in 10 minutes anyway, but if something comes up and you're like, oh my God, that person put that, like this is something people shouldn't do. And you start to think like, oh, there could be other people that did that because depending on I don't want to have to walk out of here and go smack these dogs, but I'm going to give them a verbal what for in about 2 seconds. Dimple says, I'm probably overthinking this. Wouldn't be the first time I've been accused of overthinking. That's okay. Better to overthink than underthink. Cannon, going back to you, the one thing I was talking about last night was, I think it was the one about going overbroad, like in number 5, because it wasn't more about number 5, but it was about, some people say, I hurt, because it says, what are your conditions that stop you from working? I hurt my back and I can't work. Put in your application. And they're going to get it the medical records. So what is it about the back condition as it stands now that prevents work-related activities? And I always say, look at number 20 to see what the broadest of work-related tasks are and compare it with all those. And also don't just say why you can't do your old job, because there's 12,699 other jobs that they have to consider. So if you're just talking about your past job, that's not going to get you through step 5, which is about all other works. People do that a lot. And I even say, I think I'm talking about like construction workers and stuff like that. People that have done a lot of heavy work. They're like, I can't do it because I used to lift 100 pounds and now I can't do that. Well, all you've done now is describe how you can't do heavy work. What about the many, many thousands of other jobs? So I would bring it down more to the basics. Why, sitting, standing, walking, how restricted that is, that would prevent even a sedentary or light job. Guys, hold on 1 second. I'm going to go kick some serious tuchus. Okay. We'll see how long that lasts. They were barking at nothing, by the way. Nothing. Not a thing. A leaf blows, a squirrel, Again, it's the mob thing. It's just like they get in this big party of fun. They think it's so much fun. They're wagging their tail the whole time. Cannon, one more thing. Try not to use extreme language like I never, I cannot ever, I always. I probably wouldn't say my pain is a 10 out of 10, because if it was, you wouldn't be filling out a 3373. So, because very rarely is something never, always, right? It's just not. It could be most of the time. Geronimo. Hi, Geronimo. I don't think we've met. Have we met? I don't think so. Gutierrez. Okay. Good afternoon. So this is the next question. My question is, why am I needing a CE since the vocational expert said I don't have any transferable work skills? I have coronary artery disease diffuse. Because the CE is not about whether you have transferable skills. The CE is about how limited you are. So when the CE, consultative examination, and consultative examiner examines you and sees your strength in your fingers and whether you can do a squat and heel to toe and all that, it's going to be about that. Unless it's a mental one, in which case it's going to be mental things. But yeah, so the CE is a medical person, not a vocational person. So it sounds like you're having a Did the judge order a consultative exam after you had your hearing where the VE testified? I just had one like that. And that's rare. I even said to the judge when he suggested it, I said, but judge, it was a remote DLI. I said, what the point of a consultative exam now, it's a snapshot today of the person's condition, and we're trying to prove that the person was disabled 3 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, under those medical, And he's like, that's true. But then he went and scheduled it anyway, post-hearing. So I don't know. I figure it can't probably hurt. The judge seemed nice. Maybe it was just to help solidify that, at least as of now, she is. And if you can bring it back to the DLI that's, not so far in the past. Like it wasn't the 3 to 5 year DLI. In this case, it wasn't. David says, so this is the next question. SSDI status from Appeals Council has disappeared from the website. What happened? I don't know, because I don't really see what you guys see, on your phone or whatever. You guys didn't hear that. I muted it it could be that the Appeals Council has made a decision, and you'll get a letter soon as to whether they decided to remand or decline to review, which is the way they say or not. We have a new member. That's super sweet. This is Screamin' Eagle. Hi, Screamin'. Do you prefer Screamin' or Eagle for short? But thanks for being a member. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Shiloh. Okay, so next question or comment. Awarded 100% P&T in September 2025. Okay. Glad you got through that hurdle. I am sorry that you are 100% P&T though. And I thank you for your service, of course. I think I thanked you the last time. All of my treatments were with my personal psychiatrist. I'm requesting SSA to contact her for medical info, and they will, to get it expedited due to 100% P&T. What is needed to as long as they know, if you have your documentation from SSA saying that you're 100% P&T, I would send it to the field office. I would also just send it to the adjudicator just in case. It would probably be the field office though that does it that way. When we apply somebody, we kind of make it clear there when we send in our documentation. But we tell them if we don't have the documentation, this is 100% P&T. I would like to think the SSA can go get that information themselves. I'm sure they can. I'd like to think that they actually do double check people, because imagine if someone was impostoring and just saying, I'm 100% P&T because they want to get to the front of the line. We wouldn't be the first time, right? Yeah, so Charlotte's talking about proof of 100% P&T. Yeah, you have a letter, right? How'd you learn about it? Can you go onto the VA website and just get the confirmation letter? And then, through your account and shoot it up to the SSA. Screamin' Eagle says, hi, Stephanie. Glad to be part of the crowd today. I'm glad you're here. If somebody has this is the next question then, guys. If somebody has a CDR in 7 years, which makes you 67, which then puts you into Social Security, it puts you into Social Security retirement versus Social Security disability. Yes, both are Social Security. Both are your Social Security. Same amounts. Anyway, the question is, do you need to concern yourself with a random exam? I wouldn't be worried at all. They're probably going to continue on with the 7 years, and that's because they don't expect medical improvements that would make you able to work under the rules. And short of doing something like working and earning, which changes the whole optic and means you're potentially improved, because before you weren't able to work even part-time, or at least you were not working. In some way, form, it can be evidence of something, but isn't necessarily mean improvement, and doesn't necessarily mean improvement enough to go back to work full-time at a job that exists in substantial numbers in the national and regional economy. So all those little fine words are what help us. Okay, we've got CG. Hi, denial here, under 50, turned 50 in December. Refresh me, CG. Were you denied by ALJ? Or were you denied underneath, at the lower level? Kenneth says, I've been watching your videos. Thank you for what you do. This helps so many people. I appreciate that. Thank you for chiming that in. That was really kind of you. Sharing it publicly like that. Oh, Kenneth's from West Virginia. I love West Virginia. I'll tell you, if my husband didn't work in Pennsylvania, in the capital city, I would love to move to West Virginia. I'd like to get a big old piece of land. I don't want to see my neighbors. I want to see them when I want to invite them over, or if they want to invite me over, but sorry. Does that make me antisocial? I don't think I'm antisocial at all. And when I go out, I'm not. On the rare occasion we get to go out and have a little fun, I'm as chatty then as I am now. Okay, Kenan says, your number 5 videos view count has gone up this week for sure. Did I turn off view count? I might have turned it off. I don't know. I don't know, maybe I didn't. Yeah, you can't turn that off. Okay. 3D's in the house. Next question. Hi, 3D. I hope you're having a good day. And it's nice to meet you. I don't think we've met. What should someone expect at an SSI disability remand hearing after the appeals council vacated the ALJ's unfavorable decision, especially if their attorney withdrew right after the hearing. That means you can get a new attorney. Did he withdraw and waive fee? That's the big one. Well, what it means is you're either self-representing at your next hearing or you are getting a new representative. Your choice. Well, presumably your choice. Did the attorney withdraw right after the hearing before an appeals council appeal was filed? Did you appeal it on your own, or did he file it for you and then withdraw? Why would he do that? I guess he just, I don't know. He didn't have a lot of faith in it, I guess. Well, I could see not having a lot of faith in the appeals council remanding because that's not that, 15% or something. But still, no harm, no foul, just to wait. Cannon, you're welcome. And I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Cannon goes on to share. Cannon was in an accident. TBI, that would be traumatic brain injury. For anybody who doesn't know the acronym. Back broken in 2 places. Oh my goodness, Cannon. And 2 broken ribs. Diagnosed with 2 psychiatric disorders. Were those stemming from the TBI or were they pre-existing? Yikes. I hope you are in a good recovery. Geronimo says yes. My mind is like a sieve. What did I ask you, Geronimo? Okay. So my expectation of where the what happened, that you got a CE by the judge. I'd like to think, and this is pure speculation, Geronimo, I would like to think that a judge isn't going to put money into the seat unless he's thinking of rewarding you. And he just needs to double check something. You know what I mean? Like, that's cost money to the SSA. I'm sure they don't want to see it done. I'm assuming, they get checked on how much they're spending out of that ordering they can do. And if someone's constantly always doing it, like I said, it's not that common, a CE after a hearing. It's really not. Sean Bailey's in the house. Hi, Sean. I don't think we've met. So Sean's question is, I was with the Postal Service for 27 years. I was injured on the job in 2024. So you probably have a workers' comp or something. Are they self-insured for workers' comp, I think? I'm also legally blind with 15-degree visual field test in both eyes. Cute. Are you asking if you qualify for SSDI? If your definition of legal blindness meets the listing, so you're going to want to go precisely and get the exact medical records that show that you meet the listing as explicitly defined in the listing, I think you would, as long as you're not doing that Postal Service job anymore. Did the injury cause the legal blindness? So all injuries, all diagnoses can potentially be legally disabling under Social Security rules. The question is more so, does my level of severity for 1 or more impairments render me unable to perform any of the 12,000 plus jobs found in substantial numbers in the regional and national economies? And that's going to depend on your particular severity, right? We can have 2 people can have a bad back. One guy can be a cashier doing light work for 10 years, and one person can't even walk across the room without pain. So, there's impairments, and then there's varying degrees of how much they limit us from functional tasks like that.